Welcome back to Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Yesterday and the day before, we began to learn about state inventiveness. All right. And in this day and age, it's important to always remember that innovation is a constant process. And if you stop innovating, you become a dinosaur. And we all know what happened to the dinosaurs. So, now, the first day we talked about imitate. So the basic theme was reuses. Reuses. Now, the first time we spoke about reuses, it was in the context of create effects. One of the three endeavor elements is create effects. The main idea is to do it, achieve your outcomes, and then reuse aspects of your endeavor, reuse aspects of that project, and then plug them in to future endeavors. That was the first time we learned about reuses. The second time we learned about reuses was when we discussed state synergies, because one of the key concepts of synergies, meaning spotting the opportunity for cooperation, the one of the main themes of state synergies is reuses. Most of the relationships that we develop, we want to be able to use these relationships over and over again. The providers that are providing services, we want that relationship to get closer and deeper and better so that we get better services. The customers that we have, we don't want them to go anywhere. We want them to continue to purchase our products. And are the guys that we're working with, hopefully you want to keep working with the guys that you're working with. And hopefully over time you can develop methods so that you can help your peers, your colleagues, and even your competitors to achieve results. And if you can help your competitors, maybe especially if they go out of business, remember you can always bring them into your company. Oh, but that was actually the second. We were using that idea with the second idea, which was integrate. All right. So we learned about reuses two times before, once to create effects, once to talk about the state synergies checklist, and then with the state inventiveness checklist, we talked about reuses within the idea of imitate. So reuse the success that other people are having, reuse the process, reuse, and then actually we went through each level of the state progress checklist. We said we can reuse we can imitate the resources that our competitors are using. We can imitate the motivations that they have. We can imitate the interactions which they use. We can imitate the assumptions which they have developed from the research that they're doing. We can imitate the scenarios that they're building. We can imitate the plans that they have. And then we can imitate the actions that they are taking. And if we do so, it is likely that we will achieve the outcomes that they are achieving, and we will be able to foster reuses. Now, from the idea of reusing or imitating, we then moved on to the idea of synergies. So the theme is synergies. So this is a little bit different than the state synergies checklist. We're using the idea of synergies just basically as a theme. And the idea, we talked about bringing our salespeople onto the factory floor and making sure they understand what's going on in our business so that they can integrate our products into our consumers' processes and into our consumers' products or services. And then we talked about integrating even further into the customers of our customers. We talked about bringing those salespeople back into our factory and talking to our engineers and saying, hey, what did you learn from our customers? What did you learn from the customers of our customers? And we also talked about being a spy. So the idea was that we can go into our potential customers, companies, find out what our competitors are doing, and then figure out parallel innovations, figure out how to either imitate what they're doing or find ways for our products to integrate into our potential customers even better than what the competitors are providing for them. and then bringing back that intel into our company and making sure our products are able to integrate with all of our potential clients so that we can start to displace the use of competitor products and services within those potential customer companies. All right, so that's a review. So let's continue. Let's move on. Now, if you have a copy of the book, Create Crucial Insight, there is a link. You can order Tom Buchholz's Create Crucial Insight on Amazon. You can find the link on my main page. You can find the link in the description. Is there a link in the description below? I'll have to add that. And yeah, so you can buy the book. Now, if you're working with the state inventiveness checklist, you might notice that we were at the top idea, that was reuse, imitate. Next one was synergy, integrate. Now we're going to move down to the second, to the bottom. Now this is the same situation which you might have faced if you're looking at the state progress checklist. So like you talk about fostering uses, reuses, that's the top one. Then you come down to recognizing outcomes, and then you talk about performing actions, and then you talk about choosing plans. It's like, well, what do you mean choosing? What do you mean? Like, how do I choose a plan unless I'm like building the scenarios? And how do I build the scenarios unless I'm thinking about assumptions? That's why I made that little switch there. And we're doing the same switch now. So now we're going to go to the second bottom idea, and then we're going to work up for a little while. And then we're going to hit the last idea on the last day. So the idea is today is about passivity. The theme is passivity. What does passivity mean? Passive. Active and passive. So be proactive means to go and do. And to be passive means like ignore. Ignore. What does ignore mean? So imagine like you are in the process of doing research, and there are 1,000 different things that you can research. There are 1,000 of different things that you can look into in order to create some type of innovation. If you're sitting at home and you're like, hey, I want to start a new business, but you're like, what kind of business should I start? Well, I don't know, like, how about a dinosaur feed company? So you're going to produce feed for dinosaurs. So obviously that's ridiculous because there's no dinosaurs. So why would you produce food for dinosaurs if dinosaurs don't exist? Now, the same idea can come into the process of innovation. Some of the technologies that we have today have already replaced things that existed in the past. Like, I mean, like how much farming equipment are you going to create? I mean, how many different types of farming equipment do we have today that have replaced old systems? And like, what kind of innovations do you have in a car that have replaced the old ways of doing things? You're not going to go back to a horse-drawn carriage. I mean, maybe you are. Maybe there's like a market for this. Like I've been to, like, what is it, Central Park in New York, where they have some horse-drawn carriages. But I mean, how many of those do they need around the world? So just if you're doing some research for some dinosaur product, and it's unlikely that you're going to produce a basis for some kind of appropriate product, then possibly you should ignore that research. Also, there's also this possibility that it's just you could just be characterizing the behavior of some of your employees. So you say, hey guys, why you guys want to come and help me think about some new innovative ideas? You want to come and help me to figure out how to imitate our our competitors? Do you want to help me figure out how to integrate our product into our customers' products? And they're like, huh? Talk to the hand. Maybe. Do you guys still say that? Talk to the hand. The thing is, like, I've lived in so many foreign countries, and I've lived in foreign countries for so long that sometimes I don't know, like, what's the new hip way of saying something. So, all right, so let's just talk in general about innovation. All right, so think about activities or skills needed to affect desired innovation. Activities and skills. All right, so I'm suggesting that you imitate and you integrate and also have a short list of things that you should ignore. These are activities or things that you can do to innovate. Next, you could optimize or harmonize teams, activities, skills, attitudes regarding innovation. So if you have some guys in your team that are like shunning the idea of innovation, it could be possibly that they just don't really know what does it mean to innovate. And they're like, I don't have any ideas. Like what? Well, if you don't have any ideas, then maybe you can do some research about what other people are doing. All right. Or if you don't have any ideas, maybe you can go with some salespeople and go into the companies that they are talking to and figure out how we can integrate. All right. So if you're getting shunned, possibly it would help just to talk about how to innovate. And these are some processes that you can follow in order to innovate. Also, you can characterize steps to innovation, which I just talked about. Or you can change the emphasis. So maybe like right now, the emphasis is to imitate, and your product is basically just doing exactly the same thing that everybody else is just doing. And you're like, hey, well, why don't we change the emphasis here and start to put more emphasis on integrate? Or maybe we've been like following somebody's process and doing the things that they have been doing, but now we need to ignore copying them. We need to ignore some type of integration. All right, so finally, when you're having a discussion, basically, you can create these 3 different sentences. You can say, this endeavor needs this activity. Maybe it's this endeavor needs to ignore these aspects. This endeavor needs to imitate these things. This endeavor needs to integrate in this way. You could also say this entity does this activity. So you can start to characterize. You can say this entity ignores these aspects of innovation. This entity imitates these aspects of innovation. This entity integrates these aspects of innovation. And finally, you can say this entity exhibits this mindset. All right, so you can pinpoint activities, but you could also talk about mindset. All right, so because they have the mindset to integrate, they have been able to do these specific things. Because they have a mindset to imitate, they were able to do these things. Because they have a mindset to ignore these aspects of innovation, they have focused on these ideas. All right, so now we're going to start from this idea of ignore, and we're going to go through. I think this could be especially helpful if you are planning to start a new business or if you want to make some changes in your business. I think the next couple of days will be interesting. We're going to go step by step what it means to innovate. I'm happy to see you again. Day 26. So we are officially past the 1/4 mark. We are past the 25% mark. There is still snow on the ground. It is still cold outside. And I'm looking forward to reaching the halfway mark after we do the exact same amount of work, which we have done for the last 25 days. That's our next milestone. Stay on board. Let's keep working together. Keep on doing your homework, writing down your thoughts and ideas. Keep on improving your business. And I hope that you'll be able to really make some big changes this year and be able to capture more of market share, whatever business that you're doing. I hope that you'll be able to achieve new successes and you'll be able to have new relationships and that you'll find joy in the process. I hope that you'll stay motivated, and if you need any help at all, there's a link. You can contact me, and I would love to talk to you. Thank you for joining me. I'm Blaine Gates.